I'm up. Are you up? Sir. It's time.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. That's funny. Did you sign? Are you on?
Yeah, we're live. We've been live for 22 seconds.
Great.
Okay, you all right?
I'm fine.
Are you sure? Okay. There's so much to talk about, you guys. We missed you last week. I don't even know who was on. It says here 0. But, we missed you last week. Google sent me a message that I do not understand, but I'm gonna message somebody about the message when I get off the phone. Google's been sending a whole bunch of people to my website. I'm like, why are all these people on my website? Remember me? Oh, you've got the Ring of Death?
Something's going on.
Okay.
You good on your side?
Let me check. I see 3 people on, but... The Ring of Death.
I do not know.
Me neither. Okay. The Black Multiverse Theory is live. Here we are. The Ring of Death.
Yeah, it's just me.
Are you on our thing, or are you on Shaw? Hey, Ronald. What's it? You know what? There's water.
I'm on aphrodisiac.
You are?
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening.
Okay.
Oh, there we are. I'm back up.
Okay. We're back.
It decided to do the things. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna blow up this group. I wish I had the screenshots, but we're gonna talk all about that. What's a blow up? Because I have a habit of complaining about the people who do me wrong IRL on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, seriously? I'm going to do this 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So, good night, everybody. Welcome to tonight's issue of the Black Multiverse Theory podcast. We missed you last week. We were definitely down for the count.
Yes, we ran into Rona problem.
Yes, the Rona. So, I have quarantined for my 14 days is up today, and I tested negative.
I tested positive, and my quarantine days are up. They were up on Monday.
So here we are.
Here we are back in the saddle,
as they say in the Western.
A lot of people had lots of questions. The thing about COVID is it is very easy to contract, but it's very hard to pinpoint where.
There is no patient zero.
Yeah, it could be anybody. So, and the funny thing about both Nilo and I is that we're very diligent with masks. We're very diligent with gloves, hand washing. Me, when I'm going to people's house for plumbing or for whatever, I wear my gloves, I wear my mask. I'm very diligent about that. But some way, somehow, there have been many scenarios. I used to watch a lot of documentaries about the flu, and how you get the flu and how it's contracted. And the different
like all those epidemic and pandemic documentaries that I refuse to watch.
But just your common flu. COVID is exactly like the common flu, except it is
Worse.
about 10 times. The symptoms are 10 times worse, and a lot of people suffer with the flu with like little aches and pains and stuff like that, or major aches and pains. These pains are a lot, and back hurts, lungs hurt when you breathe. It feels like it's somewhere in the kidney to lung area where there's pain.
I don't know if you had the opportunity to read that article I posted on my wall, but it was a COVID-19 article. They fed COVID into a supercomputer and figured out that what it does is literally gets your body to release. I'm going to look it up while you keep talking about COVID, but release, it's like this chemical. It's something that I use actually in cosmetic formulations. Okay. So they're like whatever the thing that is happening in your body, and then it just oozes it everywhere, so it goes into your intestines, into your lungs, into your kidneys. So a lot of people, they've said that they've have young people coming in with strokes now, and that's the first side of COVID that they have, is that all of a sudden they have this stroke,
right? And
young people having like cardiac infractions and heart attacks and stuff. So it's a really weird disease in terms of how it overall might affect your body, but on the cellular level it does this one weird thing pretty much.
It was strange to once I got diagnosed, and a lot of conspiracy theories happen are birthed out, and I'm working out my own conspiracy theories.
They're good ones
myself. They're not always good.
They're entertaining. That's what I call a conspiracy theory. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because when I got sick at first, I just was tired. I didn't feel any problems, and even then I started to limit how long I was out, and I'm gonna go to bed early and try and get ahead of this thing, right? Because when you get the flu or you get a cold,
you got to take care of yourself.
Trying to get to sleep is what the body is like telling you. It's like, listen, go to sleep so we can try and start working on fixing this thing. So I got tired first. No pain, no stuffy nose, no nothing. And then I then got a headache. The next day I had a headache, and in my eyes, just in the sinus area, just killing me in the sinus area. I decided that I'll rest for the weekend, but we did have a church bottle drive, so I did want to take the children out. I remember as a kid going for bottle drives and stuff like that. So I masked up the children, gloved them up. We put on ponchos because it was really rainy that Saturday. And the children went and basically rang the doorbell, spoke to the people with their mask on, had the people bring out the bottles to the sidewalk, and then we picked them up from the sidewalk and put them into the vehicle. None of the people in the vehicle had COVID except for me and my son. We found out that he had COVID, and we found out after that my mom, who was also in the vehicle, had COVID. But the rest of the children, which I had my 4 children in the vehicle plus Pastor Rod's son in our vehicle too. All of them came out negative. All of them are fine. No, not even symptoms. Even my son, who tested positive, he has currently no symptoms. He's asymptomatic. And for those people who don't know what asymptomatic is, that's when you do not have any physical signs of anything wrong with you. So he's jumping up and down, he's playing Fortnite, he's yelling, screaming, having a good time, singing, all the good stuff. Meanwhile, I'm quarantined in the house, completely out and down. The thing about COVID is a lot of people do not hear about the success stories of what happens to people who just get better without a vaccine, without medication, without anything, and I am that person. So I just got better. I got thanks to Tim Noel, my boy for life, picked up my laundry for me, dropped off some tea for me, and dropped off oil of oregano caplets for me to take, and has been calling me every day to find out if I'm okay, texting me every day to find out okay. Shout out to that. Shout out to my boys that are on the Bad Boys of Bethel chat group. Shout out to all those people. Shout out to Nilo, who sent tea for me as well, some sunflower tea, which helped in my road to healthiness.
Just so that you guys are clear, sunflower leaves, also mullein leaf, which is a local plant. Additionally, marshmallow root, which is not marshmallow the candy, but marshmallow the plant, so don't expect it to smell the same. And I think I had sarsaparilla.
Sassafras?
No, not sassafras.
Oh, sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla and burdock root. So those were the 5 things in the tea that kind of had to do with blood cleaning, and it turns out that sunflower leaves are really great for lung health. I made a tincture. I also was quarantining, like literally the day that he told me, which was, yeah, so I've done the quarantine. I was also quarantining, which means that I was like locked inside with all of my herbs and plants and whatnot. So I had the opportunity to like make medicine, I guess, plant medicine, and do some wild crafting and learn a little bit about the region that we live in. I've been treating it like a colonizer, honestly. So I've started to look at the land in, this sounds so, I'm ashamed to say this, but in a way where it's like more bountiful. I kind of like look around at this place and I'm like, ugh, it's a dead place, but it's not actually. There's all kinds of food and medicine that is like all around us. So
the most educational thing that I learned about COVID is that there is a lot of people who do not know what COVID is about. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe that COVID is really happening. And there's a lot of people that have never met anybody who's had COVID or seen anybody.
Actually, we didn't know anybody who had COVID until you know everybody who has COVID. Yeah, it's exactly how it works. And so that you guys know.
And so my children prepared me for all the questions that the adults were about to ask me, and they were asking me stuff like, okay, number one, once you get COVID, are you positive forever? No, you get COVID. It has what I call a gestational period of 14 days. So you have to quarantine and be out of everybody's viewpoint for 14 days. Within that 14 days, you have to stop exhibiting symptoms. And then that's when you know that it's flushed out of your system. In order to flush it out of the system, it is highly, highly susceptible to vitamin C, zinc, and liquids, just flushing out your system. Once you do get it, though, like pneumonia, like bronchitis, you are susceptible to other strains of it more easily than you are than other people who have never gotten it. Which means that next year, if there's another strain of COVID-19, like COVID-20, I'm more susceptible to getting COVID-20 next year, or whatever the new strain.
But what they've also found out recently, because I've been reading a lot about it, is that they're finding that you do build up more of an antibody than they realized. So as far as novel coronavirus 19 or novel, you likely won't get it again.
Yeah.
Once you've gotten it, right?
Like COVID-19.
Yeah, you likely won't get it again.
Yeah, I built up antibodies in my system. It was interesting. Some of the conspiracy theories that I've drafted up in the time.
Do you want to tell them now, or you want to wait until?
Want to wait? We can wait.
I just want it to be nice and polished when you get it out there. We can say it. Go ahead and say it.
It's a good
start.
It's a good. So when I started feeling sick, which would have been the Thursday that I started feeling sick, or feeling ill. By the time I reached the Saturday, I was not feeling well at all, and by the time I reached Sunday, I was really feeling ill. So at that point, I thought I'd reached the peak of sickness, because when I have the flu, that's when it is. So that Monday, I went in for testing based off of my wife, who's in the healthcare profession. She's in the COVID specific healthcare profession, so she answers the phone and has all the information on 811 and how, when people call in.
It's the perfect person to be stuck with.
So actually, because she knows so much, the entire house became locked up.
The zone. She was like, okay, here's what we're doing.
So everybody had to shut down. The door couldn't open. The children couldn't come through the door.
It was a full quarantine situation.
It was a full quarantine situation. And then the worst part of it, not the worst part, but one of the horrible things is I lost my sense of smell. But when I went in for the COVID test, they did the swab up the nose. And that's when they stick the swab up, they spin it a couple times, and they shove it up the rest of the way. It wasn't until that point when I got the shove up the rest of the way, and I felt the sting in the back of my nose. That's when the rest of the symptoms from COVID.
You know what I wonder? Now that I am thinking about this article, I'm wondering if your body was fighting COVID, but it was like maybe right outside of the membrane. And then when she punctured the membrane, it gave it an opportunity to like actually go in and get into your system, because your nose was literally bleeding, right?
Yeah, my nose was bleeding.
Yeah, but before then, your body was probably like giving the good fight, because apparently the receptors that it loves is actually up in your nose, which is why they swab up there. Yeah, they're called I think they're called AE2 receptors or something like that. I don't have the thing open in front of me.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, so apparently these receptors like create this certain thing in your body. And then that is what COVID does, is it hijacks those receptors and makes it produce, it's called like, it's really hard for me to say things out loud when I read a lot, because I don't actually know how to say it.
Okay.
But it's on my page. I'll reshare it on the Black Multiverse page. If you guys are any science people out there who like this stuff, it was pretty neat. So it pretty much hijacks. And the places where it has these receptors, they said, is your kidneys, I believe your intestines, and your heart, and something else. So they're saying that once it hijacks those receptors, it causes them to overproduce this thing that your body kind of like produces in the first place, right? And then it works kind of like a gel. So that's why respirators, they said, weren't working, because it's like trying to breathe through Jello.
Yeah, that's
insane.
I totally get that. My nose, I've never had that much pain in my face, like right in my nose, and it was just pain. It was like a stinging as that healed back from when she put it in there, and that alone, like I'd wake up and I just want to go back to bed. My eyes just were watering, and it was just a weird situation. But as I started to get better, things started, I got stronger, and then the only symptom I had at the end of it all was just tiredness. I was just tired again, just like how I started is how it ended.
Your body fought the good fight for like 2 weeks,
14 days. So it did what it had to do. I ate all of the fruits. I had raspberries, and I had all types of strawberries and pineapple.
Okay. So there's no patient zero. We wanted to let you know that.
No patient zero.
Make sure that you're washing your hands, you're taking your vitamin C, and you're taking zinc. If you're into that kind of a thing. there are certain plants that will help just your lung health. Those plants that I just said, like, have a high, what they call mucilage. Like, they're high in mucilage. So when you make the tea and you drink it, it sort of lubricates your body. So if you have joints that are like creaky, it helps with that. If you've got back aches, it sort of helps with that. But it also helps with those mucosal membranes, like your lungs, for example, or inside your nose, to just help you pretty much stay healthy. And I'll say those plants once again. So it was sarsaparilla, burdock root, marshmallow root, mullein leaf, and sunflower leaf. So those were the 5 that we were using, because I was drinking that every day. Like, I made a gallon of it, and while I was waiting for my COVID test to come back, I was just drinking like all the fruits and vegetables and teas that I could get my hands on, pretty much.
Yeah. I also drank quite a bit of peppermint and hyssop tea.
Oh, hyssop, yeah.
And hyssop is also really good in
Kills
helping.
everything.
God had a lot of energy. So along with that, my oregano, stuff like that, really came through with very minimal medications.
Yeah.
There's a lot of herbs and spices.
Herbs and spices. And then also make sure you're washing your hands. I know you might hate masks, but please be diligent with your masks, because it helps to protect the people around you, which could very well be why Nigel, I guess we're in the same cohort, but we kind of wear masks a lot even when we're not on air. So
yeah,
that could be a reason as to why I'm negative also. So anybody who's out there, so I actually haven't spoken to Nigel about this yet, so he'll be hearing this for the first time. But if there's anybody who's out there that needs drop-offs, so if you need somebody to grocery shop for you, if you need medication, if you have older parents, because what typically happens is entire families are going COVID at the same time, having to quarantine at the same time, especially with kids in school or whatnot. So you might have mom and dad and 2 kids or 3 kids, and then grandpa, whoever takes care of the rest of the family isn't available. If you call Aphrodisiac, so it's 780-964-7117. The person who's going to pick up the phone is going to like triage your call, so take all your information, and then we have volunteers who are prepared to go ahead and do that for you. So we'll match it up and make it happen. It'll probably, I don't know how many people are going to like do this, but we're kind of working both ends of it, and just community helping. Additionally, if you feel like you want to do any drop-offs, or it'll be porch drop-offs, you can also contact that same number and sign up on the volunteer side of things. That's it for the COVID stuff, I think. Make sure you're washing your hands. That's it. That's what we got.
Perfect.
All right, let's move into the scroll. And I have been scrolling. It's interesting to see how all my friends kind of handle quarantining a little bit differently. Nigel watched the entire series of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
And I was very active on social media, so you guys probably saw me there. Lots of jokes. I was kind of like tuning into things that I don't typically tune into, and that brings me to my beef. So there's this group called A Fight for Equity, which used to be A Fight for Equality, and then they got called in by Black Lives Matter, so they changed the group name. I think it's like A Fight for Equity, or A Fight for Equity for All, or something like that. But in any case, so I'm in this group. To be honest with you, I don't really participate in these groups because particularly white folks get really, once they're uncomfortable, then they start to attack. I mean, I guess that's everybody, but being that white people generally don't have to deal with like racial trauma throughout their lives, that racial trauma that we deal with on a regular basis and that we're kind of steeped in is normal for us, that feeling. But when someone who doesn't really have to deal with that now has to deal with that and think about the complexities of the people around them, sometimes we start to encroach into areas that are uncomfortable for folks, and then it winds up being a bit vicious on the other side. So this is why I have a rule about not engaging in an informal environment. But I was quarantined, so I engaged. And essentially what happened was this. There were two young ladies who collected a whole $300 from group members. That's 13,000 people. So people put in their 2 cents, literally, and brought this $300 together, and they made bug out packs for people who are housing insecure. So they went ahead, they put these bug out packs together and took a picture of the packs, posted it in the group. Hey y'all, this is what we spent. Here are the things in the packs. This is what we made. We're going out on XYZ date and we're going to be giving out these packs. Dope. So everybody was like, oh, that's great, awesome, thumbs up, whatever. Couple days later, these two ladies screenshot themselves, like selfie, like me and you taking a selfie with this bug out pack, and then additionally took a picture of one of the people who was housing insecure and added that to the post as well. And then there was a third picture, I think that was innocuous. It was probably like just the bug out pack itself or whatever. So 2 comments. The first comment, wow, you guys are amazing, this is so great. The second comment is my comment. So I wrote, consider, what did I write? Consider doing this work without selfies, blog posts, or posting the person, right? The person themselves. So apparently people took that as me being negative and coming down on people and not telling, like, apparently not saying a good job, not encouraging folks, and then it rained down. So they said all kinds of things, most of it insulting my intelligence, the usual stuff, and then kicked me out of the group completely. So that was the drama that I got into, suggesting that maybe we don't post the pictures of the people that we are helping. One of the things that they did say is that the lady asked them to take her picture because she said she hasn't like seen herself in a long time, because she doesn't like, of course there's no like access to like mirrors or whatever. So I got that part, but I just, for me it feels like they said they asked permission to put it online, and if I like give you something and you're at a deficit for something and I give that thing to you and then immediately ask you for something right after that, it's pretty likely I'm gonna say yes, right? Because I'm gonna feel like I have to, right? And there are people who have gotten help from folks who said that, like they literally were like, okay. But also the people who work in the industry, it's like one of the biggest rules, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. That's what happened to me.
Okay.
So, do you have anything? On the scroll?
On the scroll, well, while I was out and about, in my bed actually, there was a lot of drama on the scroll, as far as, actually while I was on the scroll there was a lot of drama just about Edmonton COVID results and what's been happening lately with that.
It's definitely going up. We're in the middle of a breakout right now.
Definitely happening, so they're advising on what to do about it. Also, we had quite a bit of Kanye West posts this week in the scroll. Where
I think he's working on a new album.
He must be, because there's a lot of posts happening. Whatever he's about to drop.
When Kanye chatter increases, you know there's an album about to come out.
He's about to do an album. So he talked about Jay-Z and getting together with Drake. And
what did he say?
He said he wanted to get together and talk about it, but he you know, he expects, like, he definitely wants to work on an album and work on something with them, but he wants them to apologize first.
Okay.
Yeah. For stuff said and done.
Yeah.
Show. Yeah. So, and then a lot of the stuff, there was a rumor going out that Jay-Z sold Kanye's masters, I think, to get his masters released early. And
these are things I do not doubt. There's a list of shady stuff that Jay-Z has done in the industry, to be honest with you. Like, in New York.
Kanye's like denying it. He's like, no. He's like, no. Jay-Z still has to wait. I think he has like 5 more years before he owns his own masters. And then Kanye's like, yeah, he hasn't done any deal because he hasn't got his masters. So, don't know what you're talking about. So, Kanye's been on the prowl.
Wow. I missed all that. I missed the Kanye drama.
And it is drama.
Trump is going ahead. RBG died.
Yes.
We don't say R.I.P. because she's of the Jewish faith. So we say something like
Shalom.
No, they say may she be remembered fondly or something.
Oh, okay. I get it.
So here's a little bit controversy because, you know, we all know, if you guys don't know who RBG is, it's Ruth, I don't know her middle name, Ginsburg, who was one of the Supreme Court justices. She was a Democratic Supreme Court justice, which there's 7 Supreme Court justices, so she was like the 4-3, so she made the Supreme Court essentially like more democratic. But now I shouldn't say democratic, the Democrats and the Republicans, more democratic. But now, because Trump is in and Mitch is like, yeah, we're gonna vote on whoever Trump says, FYI, which is opposite of what they did with Barack Obama in 2015, I guess. So now the Senate is going to be Republican, which means that if Trump loses, he can take it to the Supreme Court. I'm sorry, the Supreme Court's going to be Republican. So if Trump loses, he can take it to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court can, you know, do whatever. He can literally steal the country through the Supreme Court. Literally. Additionally, the Supreme Court is not supposed to be a matter of, like, it's not supposed to be a partisan space. Like, the judicial branch is not supposed to be partisan. So the fact that it is now quite partisan is a Trump era thing. And now that Ginsburg has passed, she said she hopes that a new justice won't go in until a new president is installed. But honestly, you may not have remembered this because I was in the States at the time. They had called for Ginsburg to retire under Obama, actually, and she refused. So I kind of feel a way about her being canonized for just holding on, because she could have retired at 81.
Okay.
So that's what's going on with RBG in the news. Anything else? There's lots of stuff.
From a news perspective, the only thing that has been happening right now is just the story on Beirut, where the people who were in the explosion of Beirut, they started bringing in highly sensitive sound technology to pick up people that were still in debris after months, and they were hearing heartbeats and stuff like that.
Down there in the rubble?
Yeah, but then the sensitivity of the apparatus that they're using can also pick up watches, so it could be the ticking of a watch as well.
Oh, wow.
So they're
it's so good, it's too good.
Yeah, so they're digging up all the spots where they can figure it out. Other than that, that was it for me and the scroll. I've been listening to a lot of different things or watching a lot of different things. So, are you ready to move on? Or
Yeah.
we can
Screen
move on
time?
to the screen. Yeah.
Okay. I am watching Lovecraft Country,
Mm-hmm.
which I was watching the last time that we podcasted, and it's amazing. It is absolutely my favorite show on TV right now.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm also watching The Boys on Amazon. I don't know if you guys are watching that. I've had to take a break because the main character for me is so whiny. So when you watch it back to back to back, you're like, yo, get rid of this guy immediately. But he's the guy that I'm supposed to be caring about, I guess. So, yeah, so I definitely took a break from The Boys. HP Lovecraft Country has been really cool. I think that's it. I haven't been watching too much TV. I've mostly been beating people in Scrabble and social mediaing largely. Did you finish Cobra Kai?
I did. I finished season 2 of Cobra Kai. So it's Cobra Kai is an interesting spin because now Netflix has brought on Karate Kid as well.
I saw that.
So you've got the Karate Kid, you got the second Karate Kid, the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. I think is the person on it. And then
Jaden? What about Jaden's?
And then I think his is on there, Jaden's, because Will actually directs Cobra Kai. He's one of the executive producers.
Oh, executive producer.
So he's one of the people on there as well. So
dang, these people are making money.
Yeah, they're making it.
And
then other than that,
Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. I watched all 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine,
Which is impressive.
which is amazing. Deep Space Nine. I feel like Deep Space Nine was ahead of their time. As Star Trek is always ahead of their time, from tablets to communication devices to cell phones, all of it is mimicked off of them.
Listen, I think that people are young and they love science, and then they grow up and they get into science, and then they make the things they saw when they were young.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
So, I think that's the craziest thing. They had 2 episodes there about Black history in there, where because they had a black captain, they found that there was a lot of stuff in the media that was happening because most of the black people that you saw in Star Trek, you didn't see a lot in the original Star Trek, but they did have first interracial kissing scene. They've had the first that I've seen. They've had quite a few firsts for me. And
I think what's his name in Uhuru? Kirk and Uhuru was the first interracial kiss.
Yeah. So there's quite a few things there that were interspecies that they dealt with. They dealt with a lot of racism. They dealt with race that felt they were superior to another race,
enslaved
that other race, and then that race became free and then took back their
stuff,
their planet, and then had to go back and forth and had to patch relations and try to be in an amicable relationship. They went through different relationships between households. Worf married the Trill. And so there was a lot of stuff going on with that. So Star Trek was an amazing, ahead of its time type of ordeal. So I enjoyed every second of it. It was sci-fi to its best. They went through time. They went through space. They went through different dimensions.
It's Star Trek.
It's
my favorite fandom, I think.
It was really good. It was really good. So I enjoyed it.
What are you listening to?
Right now, there is I've been waiting and listening to the releases of Jasmine Sullivan. There's been
she could sing, boy.
Yeah, she could sing. There's been a challenge of her runs.
Yeah.
And so I've been listening to a lot of people doing the runs of Jasmine Sullivan. And then she did a quarantine performance.
Nice.
Which was awesome because it was in a room full of plants and flowers and plants everywhere. And then there were like musicians, but they were like in the plants. And then she was just singing. And then she came on because they had this challenge, this Jasmine Sullivan challenge, where they picked one of her runs and they were having people do them. So she came onto that challenge and was like, "Okay, guys, well, this is how to do it." And she slowed it down and slowed it note by note by note how she does it, and it goes back up. And then she was like, "All right, you guys are doing a good job. Keep it up." And that was it. And then people started doing all the runs. One lady did it as in different classical formations and gospel formations. She did the same run over and over. So
the people you follow your social media is so different than mine. You do have a lot of those types of things on there, like
music,
singing stuff specifically.
I do.
Okay, what else you got?
That's it for the
what you listening to? What's in your ears? I'm listening to Beyonce.
Oh yeah.
It's on repeat.
Do
we have anything upcoming? Yes, we do. We definitely have 5 Artists, 1 Love.
5 Artists, 1 Love is coming up.
When is that coming up? September?
We had a lot of stuff.
That's okay. I'll say another thing. On September 27th, we have Beyond Kinks and Curls. There's a documentary that's coming out, and they will be showing it in the parking lot of Habesha Market. So please join us on that day. We will be out there. There will also be a round table at the end of it. So if you've ever wanted to ask me questions, you can definitely be out there. I'm not going to have products out that day. There's just too many things to consider in order to make that happen, and I'm not really in a place where I can make that happen. That is September 27th. We also have on November 29th will be the next Aphrodisiac Market. I think this is probably the first official announcement of that. So on November 29th, the Aphrodisiac Market will be at the Edmonton Aviation Museum, or is it the Alberta Aviation Museum?
Alberta
Aviation Museum, and that's on 118th, like Kingsway over here. They have a really big hangar, which means that we'll be able to be properly distanced, and we'll have a lot of space to be able to work with. Do you have the 5 Ale?
The 5 Artists, 1 Love, it looks like. Let's see.
Boop, 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 boop.
Culture Days. It's usually...
it's Culture Days, right?
It's usually the end of September. But most of it was sent to us a few weeks back. So it's just a little hard to get to.
Oh, that was a while ago, wasn't it?
It's sent to both of us.
Maybe if I go there to Darren's page, he'll have it up.
Maybe. Let's see. He might have emailed it to us.
I think I saw a post. Yeah, he did, because it was an email. But I'm just going to go to...
Okay, so here it is. It's September 19th is a pop-up Tiny Desk series from the AGA, which is the Alberta, the Art Gallery of Alberta, featuring some of our most esteemed female performers.
That one passed?
On the 19th, yeah. So that one happened. September 26th, a special collaborative performance, that's this week, from select alumni to be released online. And then in February is the 15-year anniversary of 5 Artists, 1 Love.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's to be showcased also at the Art Gallery of Alberta.
Okay. Do you have a word? I think I have a word.
Go ahead.
Okay, this word is about preventative measures, and we talk about self-care a lot. A lot of the things that we're talking about with self-care are really preventative measures, and going into the season that we're going into, it's really important that we ritualize those measures, and making sure that we have hand sanitizer, we're using hand sanitizer, we're washing our hands, and then additionally, just in this quarantine that we just came through, I don't think Alberta Health Services called me one time. So it's really important that we take it onto ourselves to also be diligent. In terms, the guidelines are all posted. They're very clear. The rubric is a little bit of scary because you're place of business or place of work may have to shut down for an extended period of time. Here at Aphrodisiac, we're going to be going to 20 days on, 10 days off, so that we can cycle off for cleaning and getting tested and all of those things to make sure that we're, as much as we can, staying ahead of it. But you guys at home definitely have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, which includes, at this time, keeping your stress as low as possible, getting some good sleep, eating lots of vitamin C, and your fruits and vegetables are really, really important. And that's it. I just want to stress the importance of taking care of yourself, particularly keeping your stress levels low, because high stress is definitely going to, I guess, make a mess of your immune system, which will make you more susceptible to these things going forward. So thank you for tuning in tonight. We will see you again next week. We did miss you last week. We'll see you again next week on another episode of the Black Multiverse Theory podcast. Thank you so much.
All right.